Hello viewers, today we are going to talk about 20 actors who turned down roles of a lifetime. The history of the movie is messed up with the tales about stars who were an inch away from portraying characters that got established into the hearts and minds of moviegoers. When actors look back, they probably repent for passing up some important roles. If we see the list of 20 actors who passed up some iconic roles, we will see that some memorable characters were almost played by different actors. Number 1. Al Pacino. Firstly, he was offered the character of Han Solo in Star Wars. He was not eager to play the role. The role was then played by Harrison Ford. Later, Star Wars became one of the most successful film series in the history, and Harrison Ford established his superstar status. Number 2. Bette Midler. The producers of Sister Act first cast Bette Midler for the role, but she thought that her fans will not accept her acting in the film as a nun. As a result, she refused to play the role. Eventually, the role was given to Whoopi Goldberg. The film was a big success, generated one sequel and a Broadway musical. Number 3. Dana Delany. Carrie Bradshaw is considered one of the most famous female TV and movie characters of all time. First, the role was offered to Dana Delany, but she refused, and Sarah Jessica Parker was cast eventually. Number 4. Dougray Scott. Now we can't think Wolverine without Hugh Jackman, but initially the role was meant to be played by Dougray Scott. But Scott was then busy in playing the villain Mission Impossible. As a result, he was dropped out of production, for which he missed major Wolverine franchise. Number 5. Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler was offered to portray Danny Junko in the musical film Grease. When he turned down the role, John Travolta played it. Grease earned $694 million at the box office. It was listed 97 number in its 100 Years, 100 Passions by the American Film Institute. Number 6. Jack Nicholson. When Jack Nicholson got the proposal to play the role of Michael Corleone, he passed up. He knew that The Godfather would be a fantastic movie. But he felt that the role of Corleone should be played by an Italian. Later, Al Pacino played the role and became the 11th most iconic villain in American film history. Number 7. Jake Gyllenhaal. If Jake Gyllenhaal portrayed the character of Jake Sully in James Cameron's Avatar, he would now hold the honor of starring the biggest grossing film of all time. Number 8. Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons was first offered the character of Hannibal Lecter in the movie The Silence of the Lambs. But showing excuse of the film's violent content, he turned down the role. Later, Anthony Hopkins played the role, and it became one of the milestones of the actor's career. Number 9. John Travolta. This is a huge mistake of his career, as he refused to play the role of Forrest Gump. In 1994, it became the biggest hit in North America. Tom Hanks got accolades for portraying the role and got an Oscar as Best Actor. Number 10. Kate Winslet. At first, Kate Winslet was chosen for the character of Viola de Lesseps in the movie Shakespeare in Love. If she accepted the proposal, she would win an Oscar for Best Actress much earlier in her career. This actress experienced 5 losses before getting her first Academy Award in 2009. Number 11. Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger refused to play the role of Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct. Later, Sharon Stone played the role. The movie earned $352 million at the box office and became one of the biggest hits of 1992. The role is particularly regarded as it gave Sharon Stone her much-required break. Number 12. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was first offered the role of Bruce Wayne or Batman in Tim Burton's 1989 adaptation. He thought that the movie would be flop and passed up. After releasing the film, Batman was criticized for being too much dark, and in spite of all this, the movie became a biggest hit and earned $411 million. Number 13. Michelle Pfeiffer. At first, Michelle Pfeiffer was offered the character of Clarice Starling in the movie The Silence of the Lambs. She passed up the character because she considered the movie too violent and disturbing. Jodie Foster took over the role and it earned her a second Academy Award for Best Actress. Number 14. Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald was one of the most demanded actresses in Hollywood in the 80s for her superb acting in the movie Pretty in Pink and The Breakfast Club. She was the first cast for the role of Vivian Ward in Pretty Woman, but she passed up the role. Julia Roberts took over the role and received an Oscar nomination for the role. Number 15. Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon refused to audition for the character of Sidney Prescott in Scream. She thought that it would be just another B-grade horror movie. Later, the role was portrayed by Neve Campbell. Number 16. Sandra Bullock. For unwanted delay, Sandra Bullock packed her bag and passed up the leading role of $1 Million Baby. Later, Hilary Swank played the role. Unfortunate for Sandra Bullock, the film was not only one of the biggest hits, it got accolade of the critics. It brought Hilary Swank her second Oscar. Number 17. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Sarah Michelle Gellar was first proposed to portray the leading role in Clueless. The role was later played by Alicia Silverstone. The character Cher Horowitz, the rich, spoiled, yet sweet girl, became so dear to fans that then unknown Alicia Silverstone became superstar overnight. Number 18. Sean Connery. Sean Connery refused to play the character of Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings. He stated that he didn't get fantasy. Eventually, the role was played by Ian McKellen, which earned him an award of Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. He also got an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Number 19. Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck didn't exactly pass up the character. He was really interested to portray the character. He was the first choice of both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, but Universal Studios set him in another film. Eventually, Harrison Ford took over the role, though George Lucas was first reluctant to cast Harrison Ford. And number 20. Will Smith. Will Smith was initially proposed to play the role of Neo in The Matrix. He passed up the character because he thought that the concept of the movie was too much complicated and it wouldn't do well in the box office, but he was totally wrong.